Welcome back to Let's Get Cooking. It's your girl Rashida, and I have one question for you. Have you subscribed yet? Please consider helping me reach 1,000 subscribers by clicking that subscribe button. Thank you in advance. Now on to the main event. Today we're making these sweet potato cupcakes with cream cheese frosting. They are absolutely delicious. Let's start baking. For these cupcakes, I'll be using some flour, baking powder, baking soda, some oil, brown sugar, regular sugar, 4 eggs, sweet potatoes that I baked in the oven, and cinnamon, pumpkin spice, ginger, and a little bit of nutmeg, vanilla, and maple extract. That's what it'll take to make these wonderful cupcakes. First things first, I want to preheat my oven to 340 degrees. Then I'm going to start mixing in my dry ingredients. And I'm using 2 cups of flour, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, a pinch of salt. I'll also be adding in my spices, and I'm using 2 teaspoons of pumpkin pie spice, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, a 1/4 teaspoon of ginger, and a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg. If you like ginger, you can definitely take that up to a whole teaspoon or a 1/2 teaspoon. I like to go a little lighter on the ginger. And once I combine all these ingredients in the bowl, I'm just going to whisk them together and set them to the side and then start making my wet ingredients. Now you may not have pumpkin pie spice, and if you don't, there are easy substitutions. I would just, instead of using 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, I will use 3 teaspoons of cinnamon. I will use a 1/2 teaspoon of cloves if you have it, a 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg, a 1/2 teaspoon of ginger. And that basically will replace that pumpkin pie spice. If you don't happen to have that in the cabinets, the cupcakes will still turn out very flavorful and very, very good. To these dry ingredients, I am also going to add my sugars. So I'm adding 1 cup of dark brown sugar and a 1/2 cup of regular sugar. Once I place these in the bowl, then I want to continue stirring and stirring very well till everything is definitely incorporated and well combined. So that's going to take a few moments. So now we have our flour, we have our dry ingredients, the flour, the spices, the baking powder, baking soda. We also have our dark brown sugar and regular sugar in this bowl. Giving that a good mix. Once I'm done with that, I will set it aside and begin to mix the wet ingredients. Now for the wet ingredients, I'm taking 2 cups of sweet potatoes. I baked 2 sweet potatoes in the oven. Just took the filling out of the inside to measure it till it was 2 cups. And this is 2 cups of fresh baked sweet potatoes. I prefer baking my sweet potatoes instead of boiling them. Some people like to boil their sweet potatoes, but I believe that takes out a lot of that fresh flavor. So I have 2 cups of sweet potatoes. I want to mix that well, and then I'm going to go ahead and start adding in 4 eggs, one at a time, and just mix those in well. After I add everything, I just like to give it a mix for about 5 or 10 seconds. After I add in my 4 eggs, I'm going to then add in 3 tablespoons of vanilla, not tablespoons, 3 teaspoons of vanilla. And after the vanilla, I'll add in a cup of canola oil. Whatever oil you have on hand should work, but I prefer like a vegetable oil or canola oil. So I'm going to mix all these ingredients very well until they're well combined. And then we'll mix the dry ingredients into our wet ingredients in a few minutes. Now, if you don't have sweet potatoes, an alternate is to use a can of pumpkin. You can make these instead of sweet potato cupcakes. They're definitely interchangeable with pumpkin, so they can become pumpkin cupcakes as well. Or if you prefer pumpkin, hey, why not use pumpkin? But they are absolutely fantastic as sweet potato cupcakes. So here I am mixing in all my ingredients until they are well combined, very smooth. Want to make sure everything is mixed in well before we add the dry ingredients. I would recommend making these cupcakes for your Thanksgiving dessert table, even your Christmas dessert table, or anytime in between. They're also great as a brunch item or just a little dessert around the house. They're very, very, very good. I made them into mini cupcakes, took them to work, and they absolutely loved them. Okay, now I'm adding back in the dry ingredients that we mixed at the beginning of the video. And just a little bit at a time, add the dry ingredients in and mix well. Now when making cakes and cupcakes, we always want to make sure not to over mix. So once everything is in, well combined, incorporated, then we're going to stop mixing. And it will be a pretty thick batter, but they're not going to be dense, but the batter is thick. And it's very easy to use the whisk or just like a hand mixer. I didn't need to bring out the big KitchenAid mixer. A hand mixer works well, and as you see, the whisk also works well. I think once it gets a little bit thicker, I do pull out the hand mixer and just give it a quick mix. What's your favorite dessert around the holidays? What do you like to make? Have you made these sweet potato cupcakes, which you can also make it into like a sweet potato bundt cake? And I'm going to be adding cream cheese frosting. One of my favorite frostings is cream cheese frosting. I feel like it just takes everything up a notch, and it is one of my favorite frostings. As I was saying earlier, I did make these into mini muffins. I used a mini muffin pan, and so then I was able to get double the amount. But these, you can easily make these as regular cupcakes. It'll make about a dozen and a half regular cupcakes. For the mini cupcakes, it made about 3 dozen. So it's quite a few, and it's just great for sharing with friends, family, co-workers. I find that with the mini cupcakes, you don't feel as guilty when you have one. And sometimes you might even want to. But I made these cupcakes. They baked in the oven for about 15 to 18 minutes. You want to take a look at them as they are the smaller version mini cupcakes. They're going to bake about 15 minutes. But if you have full-size cupcakes, those may take up to 20 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and pop these in the oven and let them bake. And while they're baking, I'm going to make this oh so good icing on the cake cream cheese frosting. Let's get ready to make it. Friendly reminder, we want all these ingredients to be room temperature. So we have soft cream cheese, soft butter. I'm using 2 packages of cream cheese. Let's see, 10 tablespoons of butter. So that's pretty much 1 stick plus 2 tablespoons of butter. And I want to combine those well. It's a very, very simple recipe. Once these are combined, I will go ahead and add in my extracts. I'm using about a tablespoon of vanilla, a teaspoon of maple extract. I'll be using a half teaspoon of cinnamon and 4 cups of powdered sugar. So once these are all mixed in the bowl, we're just going to mix it for about 3 to 4 minutes. We now have our cream cheese frosting. The frosting has a little bit of cinnamon and a little bit of maple extract just to complement that sweet potato cupcake. I believe sweet potatoes Maple syrup, they go hand in hand. Of course, we love cinnamon at this time, during this time of year. So I added a sprinkle of cinnamon in there also, just to take it up from just a basic cream cheese frosting to add a little bit of flavor to complement the cupcake. And it really goes well. They pair well together. So once everything is mixed in, the cream cheese frosting will be complete. It's so simple and yet so good. Like I said, I I prefer cream cheese over buttercream frosting and icing anytime. But I also like whipped cream icing frosting too. Now it's time to put the icing on the cupcakes. I have let these cool for about a half an hour as I was preparing the frosting. And I just got my little piping bag and I decided just to pipe on the icing. I am not a decorator by any means, but it just added a little bit of cuteness to the cupcakes. These are the sweet potato cupcakes with cream cheese frosting. Look at those beauties. Oh, they're so good. I do hope you make them. This was actually my first time making them, and I absolutely fell in love with them. So I'm adding them to my dessert recipes in the future. And I don't know what to say. All I can say is make them. You'll be happy you did. Surprise your family, your friends. Share them, make them, and let me know how they come out. Until next time, it's Thanksgiving season. Thanksgiving is coming up on Thursday. Have a happy, blessed, wonderful Thanksgiving. There's always a reason to give thanks. Till next time, see you later.